And I pretty much watched the whole anime starting pack, as they call it, when I was really young, like 4 or 5. I used to watch 4Kids, and I remember watching Pokemon like a lot on 4Kids, and I remember checking it out from the library because my library had a bunch of Pokemon DVDs. But another one that I remember enjoying a little more, actually, because my dad and my brother, we all watched it, was One Piece. I used to love One Piece when they showed it on 4Kids. Ah, and I haven't really gotten into it lately. I guess it's too long of a series, and I don't like pirates, so it's not that interesting to me anymore. Oh, what else? I watched Naruto. That's another one that I watched. I remember I used to play the fighting game with my brother, and I always played as the dog, and it was just such a cheap character because you could just like bite their legs and they couldn't like fight back. Oh, those games, they were interesting, all right. And one of the first animes that I really liked all by myself when I was like younger on 4Kids was the Magical Do Re Mi Club. It was about it was kind of like Sailor Moon, but it was about three girls, and I don't it's kind of foggy, but basically they become witches and they have this little Do Re Mi like necklace thing that they touch the button on. And when they do that, they have to get dressed in their witch's costume before the song stops. And, it's your typical, like, over emotional, peppy girl. Then the quiet one with the glasses, and then the tomboy. And then the little sister. But it was interesting to me because I really liked, it reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I also watched Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. And I just enjoyed the colors. I think that's what kids like about cartoons and anime are like the colors and everything. And the green blob. But I can't find it anywhere now. It's not on YouTube. The DVDs are only in German and they're like $40. So I'm kind of disappointed that I can't watch that because even the Japanese version, like I want to go back and watch the real like versions of the anime that are uncensored from 4Kids, and I just think it would be really interesting, and possibly it might ruin my childhood, but I'm willing to take that chance if it means refinding a good anime. And one that just came back in my memory, like maybe a year ago. It was like Deep in the Caverns. It's called, I think it's Tokyo Mew Mew Omnibus or something, but that was like buried in the back of my mind. It's about like there's this one, I don't even know. It's about like a teenage girl that like turns into a cat girl and she works at like a cafe. It's like Oron High School or whatever. I get that vibe off of it. But I don't remember anything from that show. Like I tried watching it on YouTube and I'm like I remember the characters, but I don't remember what the show's about or any of the things that happen. So that was interesting. But Yu-Gi-Oh, let me tell you, Yu-Gi-Oh was besides Pokemon, that was like my favorite. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh. I remember I was like obsessed with Joey. Like he was my favorite character. And I had like um what are they called? I had like it was like a necklace, but it was also like a box to keep your Yu-Gi-Oh cards in, so I would walk around with wearing it with all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I also liked I forget her name, but it was this one girl with the blonde curly hair, and on the case Joey and her was on my case, so I thought it was perfect. My mom got it for me, and I was like, wowzers. But I can't remember all the names of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I put some pictures of my favorites growing up, And I just remember, for some reason, I really liked the Magician Girl. I remember that was always one of my favorites. And also the green thing, that I don't remember its name. But I remember my brother had a slap bracelet from like a party of that green monster, and I always wanted to steal it, but I never did, so that shows some self-control for a little kid. Because I'm like, I want your bracelet. Oh, I'm sorry I'm being so embarrassing right now. But I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! So much. Like, I still have all the cards in my drawer, my dresser drawer, and I look through them. Some of them are just terrible, but I love the baby dragon. That was another one that left my memory for a while. But one thing that's always confused me is, I mean, why is Yu-Gi-Oh! A kid and then he turns into a man? Like, I seriously, I'm so lost. Like, he has like a pyramid or something, and he's a little kid, then he turns into a man, and a little kid when he loses? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on there. But also, I remember, I mentioned in the last podcast that Sonic Adventure Battle 1 and 2 are some of my biggest guilty pleasures. I love those games. I love the soundtrack. I love I love the design. And one of my other favorite animes from back in the day was Sonic X, aka Sonic Extreme. I love that show. I have a DVD of it. It's just it's like terrible but funny at the same time. And I also have some comics from it that I look through. But that show, like, I used to watch it religiously on 4Kids, and I used to be in my room, and I don't know if I ever recorded any of it with my VCR, but I used to watch it in here. But after a while, I gave up on watching it when it got to like the B people and basically the dark group from Sonic Heroes. I stopped watching because it was just getting kind of bland. But that show was legendary. Now that I'm on the subject of 4Kids, there is also this one show I used to watch called Viva Pinata, and I'm still unsure about this, but I believe that it was a video game before by Rare. I don't know which one came first, but I'm guessing it was the game. But that show, I watched it, it's disturbing. The first thing that came to my mind when I rewatched one of the episodes of Viva Pinata was the movie Food Fight. Like, I don't remember his name, but the beaver guy with the tail, it looked exactly like one of the characters from Food Fight. Like, it was just so disgusting. It's that early 2000s, like, terrible, like, poopy CGI. It looked like a piece of shit. I kid you not. I'm gonna have to find the picture, because it looked... I can't remember. And I actually watched Food Fight the whole way through. I remember, like, a long time ago, before all this, drama happened on YouTube or whatever, I watched, the JonTron episode of Viva Pinata. Oh crap, I'm sorry. I watched the JonTron episode of Food Fight, and then I'm like, oh wow, this doesn't look too bad. And I think I watched the Nostalgia Critic episode too of Food Fight, and I was so enamored by it. And I watched the whole thing through. I watched the whole thing, and I have to admit, I'm not over exaggerating, but after I finished Food Fight, I felt like my mind was kind of loose. Like, I was really, I was out of it. I was kind of sick, to be honest, but I don't think it was that bad of a movie. It was okay. I mean, I've seen worse. Like, it's better than Full Metal Alchemist. Ha ha. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. But I actually, probably now if I try and watch it, now that I'm, like, mature, like, more mature, I guess, I could watch it and I'll probably barf, but I remember it being not that bad. Like, it was disturbing, but it was just amusing to watch, because it was just so terrible. But, Those were some of the early shows on 4Kids that you would watch. Oh, I don't know if this was on 4Kids, but another CGI was the Donkey Kong show. Those, ugh, I remember checking that out from Hollywood Video or Blockbuster. Um, the Donkey Kong cartoon. They should bring that back. And then there was also the Kirby show on 4Kids. That wasn't half bad. I think there was like a guy and a girl, and then Kirby. It's really foggy. My memory's trying to block it out. But those were some of the early animes I watched. But as the years went on, for a while, I didn't watch anime. Like, for a while, all I would watch was iCarly. Like, that's all I would watch on TV was iCarly. And, oh. And then Victorious. All those Nickelodeon shows. And I still watch it, but Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents is great. It just got canceled, but that was like one of my favorite shows. And I stopped watching it when I was in middle school, but I really just like how creative it is. And I still watch it time to time when it's on TV. But I'm gonna save that for another episode though. Right now I just want to talk about anime because I just get too carried away and I start getting off track and talking about all these other things. But when I got to high school, I started watching anime again, especially before I was in high school, when I was in 8th grade. That's when I really started to watch anime again, and I don't remember why, but I think I was probably trying to be edgy or something, and I checked out Death Note because I remember when I was probably 7, I saw it on Adult Swim, and I never got to watch it because I'm like, oh no, it's a grown-up show. So I checked out the manga, and I really enjoyed it, but my library only had like 4 issues, I think, 3 or 4. So I started watching the anime, and I never finished it to this day because, I mean, a bunch of people I already know the ending, so what's the point of watching it? But from what I remember, it was a pretty good show. It was like one of my first like animes that got me back into anime. And after that, I'm like, I gotta find shows or animes that I like that are like Death Note. So I think the next thing on Adult Swim, I started watching Blue Exorcist when they ran it, and I really enjoyed that show. Because yes, it was I'm really bad with remembering the names, but the main character, it's like that typical Shonen Jump, where it's all like, he's all hyper, but I like the art, and I like the idea around it. It wasn't like Harry Potter, and by the way, I hate Harry Potter, and I'll save that for another episode, but I like the school aspect of it, because I'm a sucker for school animes, and I just liked, it was kind of like Castlevania, almost, because they're like, it had to do with demons, and I just really enjoyed that, because it could get so creative, and I think for a while I watched Space Dandy. Really, Adult Swim helped me kind of get back into anime. I watched Space Dandy for a while, and I'm gonna try and watch that again. I didn't watch the whole series, but it was funny, and oh, what else did I watch? I don't think other shows that they showed. I tried watching Mobile Suit Gundam or whatever, but I don't like really actiony stuff, and it's kind of like Transformers. I don't know. I just get that. I don't know. I just didn't like the vibe, like the futuristic. But I also remember like one futuristic one that I liked was Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. I actually, besides a few episodes that I missed, I actually watched every episode that they aired on Adult Swim until Second Gig.